In a world where information seems to travel at the speed of light and traffic at a snail's pace, where the agenda of those at the helm doesn't always reflect the pressures on the streets, where the rubber hits the road, where there's queue of issues needing to be interrogated in the name of speaking truth to power.
Welcome to A Place at the Table,
where we set the agenda,
table the issues that matter to you,
and invite you to take a seat at the table.
Welcome to this special edition of A Place at the Table. We're talking surviving the times, and my advocacy is not just on surviving, but thriving in 2025. Do you not know me? No introduction, but my name is Kate Henshaw.
Who doesn't know you, Kate? I'm Yinka Ogunnubi, and I'll be speaking on the Black Friday in Benue.
Who isn't speaking about the Black Friday in Benue? Anyway, since we're introducing ourselves, my name is Aisha Yusufu, and the opinions I will share are mine alone. I'll be asking, is any man born with a checkbook?
I wish. Aisha, you two need no introduction. I am Bright Jaja, and as Kate said, we're tackling surviving the times. We say the system is broken, but I'm asking, what if the system is working as it should, just not for us?
When the going gets tough, do the tough get going to greener pastures? I'll be taking a realistic look at the options with Japa as a means of survival in a global world. My name is Elsie Godwin.
And then there is me, your moderator for this live broadcast, Yinka Ogunnubi. Welcome to our first live edition of A Place at the Table, which means that the conversations will not be complete without your voice. To take your place at the table, type your comments under the chat section of the live stream, and the panelists will engage with it as they see it. The clock is ticking. Let the conversation begin. Kate, the ball is back in your court after the break.
Back to my advocacy. As we navigate the complexities of 2025, it's essential to develop strategies that promote resilience, growth, and well-being. Here are some of my key tips to help you survive and thrive. Stay informed and adaptable. Stay up to date with current events, trends, and technological advancements. Be open to new ideas, perspectives, and opportunities. Prioritize self-care. For me, this is so important. Take care of your physical, mental, and emotional health. Engage in activities that bring you joy. Practice mindfulness and seek support when needed, of course, from trusted allies. Build strong relationships. Nurture meaningful connections with family, friends, and your community. Invest in relationships that uplift and support you. Focus on personal growth. Continuously learn, develop new skills, and challenge yourself. Pursue your passions and interests. Cultivate resilience, so important. Develop coping strategies. Practice gratitude, which is a good attitude, and focus on the present moment. Learn from setbacks, use them as opportunities for growth. Stay connected to your purpose, reflect on your values, your goals, and your aspirations. Align your actions and decisions with your purpose. By incorporating these tips into your daily life, you'll better be equipped to navigate the challenges. Remember to stay flexible, prioritize your well-being, and focus on personal growth. With resilience, adaptability, and purpose, you will be well on your way to surviving and thriving in these times, I dare say.
I agree with everything you have said, except one. See, that's current events. For the sake of your mental health.
You don't want to
the only
keep
thing
up.
that's making me keep up is this show, really, because we have to keep up to advocate for the right
But you don't
things,
want to
right?
wake up tomorrow and find out that something is happening and you are not aware of it.
That something is happening, except I'm the one that caused the something that is happening. But me being aware is not going to change anything. I mean, I get where you're coming from, but I'm saying maybe because I've also been in a position where I've had to take in a lot of information due to media work. So when I had the opportunity to step away, I really stepped away. Because you wake up today, you see that something is happening in Abuja, it's happening in Lagos, the whole world, and it's just really scary. Sometimes even when you zero down into Nigeria, you're wondering, is it my own head that is not working? Or why are people doing this and it seems normal? Because you know it's not normal. You know things can be better. So for me, I try to balance it when it comes to current news. But everything, like you said, prioritize self-care. Physical, mental, you are the queen of physical health, well-being, right? But mental is also very important.
Yeah, very.
Emotional. Then personal growth. I like to say that who I am today is a product of personal growth, right? I've been able to be curious, to learn. Even on the job, I'm learning, I'm trying to be better. I'm going away from what you say, this is my job role, to learn what other people are doing, because you realize that when you're working in marketing, a lot of things are interconnected. If product is not going well, marketing is not working, you know, so spot on, as always. Thank you.
Yeah. Right.
Why did you just jump?
Because it's my advocacy, it's my choice. See this small boy.
I can go.
You have come on.
First of all, shout out to Coach Kate. Giving us some dimes. I think, you know, we always talk about different social issues, government policies, and all of that. But sometimes we really need to talk about the core things that that involves in our daily life.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of us just live life on autopilot.
Yeah.
Like you wake up in the morning, it's like, let's just go through the day.
Yeah.
But there's something I saw yesterday. It said for you to be a master of something, you have to repeat it over and over again.
Yes.
But what people don't also understand is when you're not repeating something, you're being master of something else that you don't even know. Because what you're subconsciously doing that you don't know that you're doing is actually being master of that thing.
Yes.
Because you're doing it a lot.
Yes.
And so when you find out that your life is going a certain way, you're asking yourself, and why is this happening? It's because you're mastering doing nothing. Basically, you're a master of doing nothing. Right? You're a pro. Like, if there is a contract for people that do nothing, you probably win
Get the prize.
You'll be awarded that contract. So I think it's important for you to be very very intentional with your life.
I
you
use
wake up
that
in the
word,
morning,
yeah.
every single hour, what I do is every single hour of my day, I have what I call the personal operating system. Every single hour of my day, there's something that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So that I'm reading a book, I'm working on this proposal, I'm working on this project. Literally every single hour. At the end of the day, I sit down and I reflect. If you can't just live your life like
just for living
like a social
sake.
media post that people are commenting on. Like you need to live your life intentionally. So shout out to Kate.
Yinka.
Okay, there's so much I can take out of your advocacy. It sounds like a master class in personal development. And there's so much, you know, but I'd just like to focus on two. The first part is where you stay informed and adaptable. Stay up to date with current events. So I disagree with you. Right? It's absolutely absolutely important. It's my turn. Don't
Like Trump is the new daddy, right?
Please, it's Yinka's turn.
It's absolutely important that you stay up to date with current events, because it basically sets the pace of how things will be. But I'll take it further as well, that you also have to think about tomorrow. How is the current trend impacting tomorrow? I recall sometime in the early 2000s, I took a course by myself. I just
self-development.
I took a course in data analytics and advanced Excel, whatever. It costed me at that time a fortune. And when I was doing that, then so my friends were like, "What are you?
What are you feeling like?
What are you doing?" But I knew that skill was going to be very much.
So is it vital now?
Absolutely.
Look at that.
Absolutely. I mean, if you have that kind of skill today, you're not just relevant for today, you're relevant, for tomorrow. So I think that's right. But the one area which I really, really love in your advocacy was, the one you talked about, cultivating resilience. And I love the way you kind of just crafted that word, cultivating resilience.
It's so important.
Develop coping strategies, practice gratitude, and focus on the present moment. And then this is what I love. Learn from setbacks and use them as opportunities for growth.
Absolutely.
The reality is that what happens to you in your life, it's basically dependent on how you react to issues that happen to you. That you can actually have a bad experience, But what comes out from it is based on how you see that bad experience. You
Yes.
can actually see that bad experience. It's bad, no, but you can actually see it as an opportunity for you to do something different.
Yeah,
or
how
do
not to
better,
do it,
or
yeah.
how not to do it,
Yeah.
and all that. And it's a mental thing.
It is.
It's that, and it's not something that you do easily. It's something that you have to intentionally,
Over time.
deliberately cultivate. Because the easiest thing to do, I tell people that in Lagos, for instance, when you wake up in Lagos, you're already stressed. Lagos is stress. You wake up, you get into traffic, it's stress.
Yeah.
So the reality is that you don't have an alternative but to be positive.
Yes.
Because if you're going to go into Lagos like that, Lagos is going to just
It
give
will
you
melt you down.
everything. So
Yeah.
you have to be intentional to say, you know what, despite Lagos, in spite of, I'm going to be positive. I will achieve whatever I want to achieve. I'll get to where I need to get to.
You'll be happy.
And I will be happy, because I do not have an alternative.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
That is, the alternative is chaos, and I don't want that to be my story. So that's my take.
Thanks, Yinka. Well, someone said to me, failure is not fatal, and I agree. Aisha?
Okay, Elsie, I got you. You see that current affairs,
Oh,
that
Lord.
current news? Nah. For me, up until 2013, let's say 2014, I didn't know Nigeria existed. I had to just take myself out of current affairs because I felt if not for the books I read, I would have been very, very ignorant of what was going on. Because there's so much. And then when you're empathetic, it's just like you wake up, so number of people have been killed. For me, it's just not numbers. I have what they call survivor's guilt. Then I'm thinking, that could have been me.
Yeah.
That could have been my kids. It could have been this. And then the next thing, why am I not the one who is dead? And that's why I started that yesterday's victims. You know, when people
tomorrow,
hear it, they just feel like it's sleep. And no, it was deep for me because I keep telling myself I could have been the next one. So sometimes to protect yourself, you just stay away from the current news and all the happenings that are out there. But of course, you need to, after my 40th birthday, I realized that I also had become the problem of the country by not interfering, by not saying anything, by just minding my business and just doing my trading and looking for money. And so I love your advocacy. One thing also I will add is that live life on your terms.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
1000%.
Let the society say this. This is what you want, this is how you want, and this is how you want it. Because there's only one you in this world.
One.
Every one of us say we are an endangered species. There's no other Yinka. There's no other Henshaw. There's no other Yinka. There's no other Aisha. If you understand the way it is. So live your life on your own terms, and then let the child in you live.
Oh, I always say, never lose your inner child.
You know,
never, ever,
my 3-year-old is still here. Like yesterday morning, I just felt I was going out. Is this music? I just told my chef. I just said, hold it there. I just jump in my sitting room, and sometimes I just dance. No, it's not musical. Hey, we gonna dance.
No, I can never turn back.
Sometimes, my daughter will say, "Mommy, do you know when you behave more like a teenager than I do?" But the thing is that it makes you now just live life on your own terms. Just do your thing. But most importantly, also conflict. People think conflict, just letting them go. And just let them be.
Let it be, let it go.
Tackle it head on.
Yes.
If somebody come at you, go at them.
Go.
Then you know what? Give them the headache.
Okra for okra. Ewedu for ewedu.
I say give them the headache. Then you go and sleep. You see that? Let us be nice. You know what happened? You keep piling them. After a while, it becomes too much. Yeah. But most importantly, financial independence.
See.
You see that thing where you can just open your check and sign it, Don't joke with it.
Money
if you want to have this thing, money, quickly.
Money is meant to check in salt. Benga, over to you.
Money stops nonsense.
Yes.
Money stops nonsense. And Bluetooth knuckle to you, Coach Kate, for setting the ball rolling. Fantastic advocacy. As always, you all deserve national honors for what you do week in, week out on the place at the table. For our viewers at home, this is a very special edition. It's the first live edition of A Place at the Table. And we like to keep things interactive here at News Central. So if you're watching at home, please tweet at us at News Central TV. You can also use the hashtag A Place at the Table. We have a live audience currently in the studio, fantastic young Nigerians. And I believe Samuel has a comment or question to us. So let's go over to Samuel.
All right. So talking about surviving the times, right? Some of the things I think that you should pay attention to is understanding yourself. Olamide released an album a couple of years ago titled Ikigai. It's important to understand your purpose because that's going to help you actually survive pressure, because you just know that things are very transient, right? Challenges are transient, and when you know where you're going, it's easier for you to understand if something comes your way, if it's where it's helping you, how it's developing you, where you should learn from, basically, because you know where the end goal is. I remember I was at an event with the Commissioner for Health of Lagos State, Professor Akin Abayomi, and he said something about intentional living. I feel like a lot of people just live life like just going without even understanding what's happening. Like you don't understand the moves you're making, how it's affecting you, how it's impacting you. You're just moving. Anybody that says this, you go. Anybody that says this. And it kind of shakes you when pressure comes or turbulence comes. Understand that money is it's a byproduct of value, basically, right? If you create value, you get money, right? You sometimes just want to just look for money without even looking for the fulfillment. Sometimes you have a lot of it, but you feel like something is still missing in you, right? And stay courageous with your dreams, basically. I'll just end with one word. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's acting in spite of fear.
Thank you very much, Samuel. Brilliant take. I mean, I'm wondering what you're doing on that side of the table.
There's no place for him here at this table.
So we'll put you on notice. We've taken note of you. Fantastic analysis, by the way. So, Kate, what do you make of have they done justice, your fellow panelists, and of course our
I mean, these guys are the best. They always do. They bring in their A game. I mean, is it Aisha, my sweetheart Yinka, the beautiful Elsie, and of course the young man here, small boy Jaja. He always brings his.
But we often hear about women supporting women, and it was the women on the panel that disagreed with you with that keeping up with.
You know, women we like soft life. Me, I'm like a tomboy, so I can be a bit manly in my thoughts.
We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, A Place at the Table live edition continues.
Three things: stay relevant, stay consistent, stay informed. That's the only way that I think that we can thrive beyond 2025. Your grit can only take you, as far as you want it to go, and making sure that you don't give up on yourself is like the only way. You are your own biggest fan, your own biggest supporter. Also remembering not to give up on yourself. You have to learn to know that you have to anchor on the strength that success is not really that far, and it's all dependent on how much strength you can keep going on.
Hi, my name is Raye, and I'm right here at New Central. I'll be joining them live shortly to talk about surviving and thriving in 2025 while living in Nigeria.
In a country where surviving has become a full-time job, how exactly do we cope?
Every day feels like a battle for our future, but we are still standing.
We're not just here to talk. We're here to have those hard conversations people think about but are afraid to speak about. This is not your regular episode. This is a live experience with real stories, real voices, and a real audience.
Unfiltered.
Unscripted.
Unmissable.
Join the special live stream on A Place at the Table as we discuss
Surviving the Times.
This special live broadcast of A Place at the Table, streaming on all our social media channels, which means that you're at the heart of our discussions today. Join us by sending your comments, which the panel will tackle as they see it. Next up is Yinka.
On the night of June 13th, 2025, a brutal assault was unleashed on villagers in Yelewata, Gua local government area, by gunmen believed to be herdsmen. The Amnesty International reported around 100 dead, with scores missing and hundreds injured. The Associated Press later confirmed the toll rose to approximately 150 fatalities. The sheer number of fatalities caught global attention, But in reality, since April, violence has persisted, exceeding 200 deaths across local government areas. The root causes are not unknown. They are land disputes, shrinking pastures and grazing routes, climate change, and ethnic/religious divides. Section 14 2B of the Nigerian Constitution states that security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. Section 33 says that every person has a right to life, and no one should be deprived intentionally of his life, except in execution of a court sentence. Section 41 affirms that citizens are free to live anywhere in Nigeria and not be forcibly displaced due to violence or insecurity. The situation in Benue is a failure of leadership at all levels. Those who swore an oath to protect and uphold the Constitution need to take this oath seriously and leave it to those who can. The president has tasked security agencies to crack down on those responsible, but with local communities accusing the military of complicity, trust needs to be rebuilt first. We saw about a week ago that the DSS had actually given some heads up to the Defense HQ, which they didn't take any action on. It's no longer a debate. If we want to end this, we need to have the political will to mandate ranching. There's no choice, absolutely. Authorize community policing, yes, even if it means state police, and then improve on border security.
Okay, I think if we keep taking this thing to be like communal clashes, we're really not getting it. And for me, I think that's one of the problems. When it comes to Benue, we always look at it as if it's farmers' herders, clash that is going on. It's terrorism that is going on, and it's across Nigeria. So you're looking at Benue, you're looking at Taraba, because after Benue they did Taraba, you're looking at Borno, you're looking at Zamfara, you're looking at Sokoto, you're looking at Edo, you're looking at Enugu, Imo, I could go on. And so what we need to understand is that there are people, there are terrorists who are killing our citizens, and we should just treat them as such, rather than trying to make it as if there's some clashes going on and then people need to sit down in one place and settle and discuss it and come to an agreement. I don't think we're seeing it the way it is. And one of the things that is so concerning is the fact that most of these places that are being hit, if you talk about Jos, you're talking about Borno, you're talking about Niger, Benue, Edo North, they are all places where that is supposed to be like the food basket of Nigeria, where we have our agricultural produce really coming from those areas. And so the question that we need to ask, is there a silent war against Nigeria, in the sense that Nigeria is being crippled even from inside? And this terrorist attack, one of the things, and I think I've done it, one of my advocacies here is the fact that it's so disheartening when we turn it to be religious or communal or tribal. Like I said in that last advocacy, that in Nigeria, for your death to matter, you have to be strategically killed. If I'm a Muslim, and I'm Muslim in the southern part of the country, I'm killed, it doesn't matter. But if I'm Muslim who is from the northern part of the country, but I'm killed in the southern part of the country, it matters. That's why they will speak about, oh, what happened in Oromi? And a week later, 16 people killed in Zamfara. Didn't matter, because they were Muslims who were killed in the northern part of the country. And so if you're Christian and you're killed in the southern part of the country, your death doesn't matter. You have to be Christian, killed in the northern part of the country, and then your death will matter. Because then people will be able to use either the issue of sentiments, tribal card, religious sentiments, and on and on and on. But guess what? Every one of us were being killed by terrorists. And for people who don't understand, we are all victims in Nigeria. The victim card is going around. Being a victim in Nigeria is no longer a matter of if you will be a victim, but a matter of when will you be a victim, because the victim card is going around. Yesterday survivors, Yesterday's victims were once survivors. Today's victims were yesterday's survivors. And tomorrow's victims would be today's survivors. The question I always ask, who is next? And let's remember, those who have been killed will not be killed again. The next to be killed are those of us that are alive. So we need to take this thing as seriously as it is. And by the way, the victims in Benue, they also prayed. Because most of us think that the moment we said, oh, we are protected in the name of God, inshallah, it won't happen to me. I'm covered with the blood of Jesus. Well, those people who are also being killed, they are being covered. And God will not do for us what he has given us capacity for us to do for ourselves.
Right.
But I have tried my best as much as possible to avoid that particular news on WhatsApp, on Instagram. I just dodge it because I'm a very emotional person and I can literally connect to those people as my cousins, my mother, my sister. It could be anybody, right? And so because I can easily connect to them, it's hard for me to just say, oh, let's pray for their families and let's hope that everything works out. Because if you look at what's going on right now in the government, everybody has moved on. Campaign politics, they're still, ribbons are still being cut. Nothing has changed, right? And until the citizens rise up and demand for our leadership, who are responsible, like you said, to protect the lives of people, until we rise up and hold them accountable, until somebody is held accountable for this, it will keep happening. At the end of the day, our love and prayer go to the family. That's what's going to happen. Somebody needs to be held accountable. You can't have, we're not in war. I mean, even war, they would tell you, okay, we're bombing one of your facility. Everybody should move out. You're killing kids. I'm literally trying to put my words together. Like, you're killing kids. Like, what? In their homes. Like, in their homes, while they're sleeping, where they have no means of defense, even self-defense. How does that make any sense? How is it that nobody is being held accountable? How is it that we're just moving on to the next thing, to the next post, to the next comment, to the next slide? How is it that the whole world is not talking about this? I mean, I'm tired of...
You know what gets to me is the fact that this issue is not new. You can go back to several decades of this issue. And it's the same complaints, it's the same issues, it's the same playbook. And it gets to the point where you begin to ask, like Aisha said, is there something bigger to this? Is there an agenda? Or is there something else that we're missing? Kate?
Like Aisha said, maybe if they were strategically positioned in Lagos or Abuja, Port Harcourt, then the deaths would matter and something might come out of it. All the laws that you mentioned, all the parts of the Constitution that you mentioned, they are mainly suggestions because there are no consequences for them. Somebody's business it is to protect the people. Nothing happens, you don't protect. You're busy doing other things, preparing for other things. Nigerian lives mean nothing, basically. And as always, when we have to look inwards and take care of ourselves, we have to protect ourselves. We have to build the barriers. We're supposed to maybe protect ourselves without weapons because you are not licensed to, carry arms. So when they come at you, what are you going? You're just going to beg. Prayer is not going to work. Let's just forget that line. It's not going to work because they're not going to listen to those pleas. But that you wake up and the sheer number, 200. It's not chickens. It's not even cockroaches. It's lives. People who are living and breathing. But I will tell you this for sure. There's a sinister thing going on that I can't really pinpoint, but this is not ordinary. It's not normal that we just move on from this. But I understand that people are dealing with so much on their own. But like Aisha said, what's going to happen tomorrow? Nobody knows because nothing has happened. There has been no consequences for what has already happened. So who knows what will happen tomorrow and if people are going to move on. It's just such a tiring and debilitating subject to talk about, really.
Elsie, what's the solution?
Solution? I don't have it all. But, I mean, you said something about political will. You said if we want this to end, But beyond political will, do we even have empathy? Especially when it comes to our leaders. I would make two examples. I'll make two examples. Something that happened just back to back after the whole news. We're talking of 200 people. Don't forget that. It's not just one person, two. Even if it's one. Yeah. I keep talking about the value of life. And the fact that a Nigerian life holds no value. That is a major problem, right? So while this was going on, first, the governor of the state came out to accuse politicians in the National Assembly on live TV that they were sponsoring the attacks, right? But we're still trying to recover from that, and then a statement was released from the government house because they heard the president was coming to Benue State. And they said the Benue State government has called on residents and registered support groups to come in mass to warmly welcome the president on Wednesday, whatever. I guess he didn't get there finally. But the point is, people had died. This is not a state visit. It's a... The state should be in a state of mourning. It's a
solemn...
and you are calling people... In fact, they even pushed out that they should come and register. They were taking colors of clothes. So please tell me how you think political will can solve this.
And
when
the governor
there is...
He say what? He say what?
Reverend Father.
Okay, continue.
When there is no empathy, like you did not hear that news and it shook you first. Like, we are reading it, we're seeing it. I know the effect it had on me. Bright has just described what it feels like. Sometimes we're scrolling past, not because we don't want to, but it's because you are trying to protect yourself. Because it doesn't make sense that 200 people died. The president, after so much clamor, realized that he has to go and visit the place. And then somebody from the state that's supposed to be mourning had the audacity to push out a press release to tell support groups to come and register, to come and welcome the president in mass. Does that look like a place that solution is going to come out from?
No, Nehi.
That's one. Then you mentioned something about mandates ranching. This conversation, it's, I think like 5 years ago, we've had it. And I remember you were saying something behind the scene last week with Andy about solutions to this issue, right? And I didn't get involved, right? And it was deliberate because when you say ranching, at the end of the day, if they implement these things the way it's supposed to be implemented, even the owners that are saying, oh, cow is their culture, it is like a daughter to them, whatever, or son, they will benefit more. Obviously. Have you seen cows in South Africa? Obviously. Have you seen cows in Rwanda? But you will see cows here, they look like they are suffering from AIDS because they are not well taken care of. Even a human being, if you have to walk from what's it? Island to the mainland every day, you will get the effect. But if you are kept somewhere and fed and nurtured, you will see the value on your own body. It's the same thing, the animals, it's the same thing, right? So I don't understand how the conversation is happening. I don't understand if they don't tell them the value of actually mandating ranching and how it is them that would make more money when they do the right thing. I don't understand it. So I would like to agree with what you have said, that this is no longer communal, because if it's communal, since 5-10 years ago, we've been on this conversation. It would have been solved. But definitely this has to be terrorism going on.
Let me just add that mandating this ranching should not be a burden on the host communities. It should be beneficial to them. If you are mandating ranching, the host communities should not suffer, to be honest.
You know, I have tried to look at this issue from, you know, I try to be objective about it. And I realize that as objective as I am, I'm not necessarily... I'm not in the midst of what is going on, so I can't really be as objective. But you know, I look at it and I say that okay, so you get the argument that there are these grazing roads that have been there for what, decades or centuries or whatever. But then in reality, today as we see it, a lot of all those grazing roads no longer exist, and all that. So. And the reality today is that we need to have very realistic conversations around this nomadic lifestyle. Okay, very serious conversation about it.
But it is today, though.
Yeah, I mean, so the problem has always been there. Okay, that you have, even when you look at the Bible, you know, you always have this conflict between herders and farmers and one way or the other. So the point is that right now, you know, we need to be able to have, with the communities involved, with all the stakeholders, they need to be able to come to some agreement that ranching is a solution, all right, to making sure that every party is taken care of, and that's where the political will must take place. there has to be some kind of decision making in that event. And Aisha spoke about terrorism. The Interior Minister spoke some days ago about poor border security. Okay, he was saying he didn't have enough money to protect the border. And what he was insinuating is that a lot of all this, people that come in are not Nigerians, okay? They are people that cross the border, come in, attack, and then they go. All right, so what do we need to do? Do we need to build a wall like Trump? Let's build a wall and let Niger pay for it. Or something, There has to be a, solution, and it has to be an emergency
Maybe because it's having no effect on them, that's why.
It would be an emergency when 200 people makes you feel something. I did not feel that even in the reactions that came from the news, so.
And where is the land from the ranching going to come
At all. Yinka will provide it.
No,
Aisha, important and very sovereign.
Sorry, Benga. By the Land Use Act, all land in Nigeria belongs to the government and is under the custodianship of the governors.
So there's no free land anymore.
So there's no free land, but if it's for public use, the government can take land at any point in time as long as it's for public use and all that. So I'm not saying that. Yeah, I mean, they can come. But I'm saying that they have to be. If we say that ranching is the solution, the governors can do it. It's a question of today.
But the people with the cattle, they are making money, are they not?
Yes.
It's not free,
business.
So they should pay for the ranching.
Fantastic advocacy, timely, sobering. I mean, just yesterday, less than 24 hours ago, 17 soldiers, Nigerian army, lost their lives in exchanges with insurgents. And you're spot on the nomenclature. We should stop these bandits, insurgents. They're terrorists, and they should be treated as terrorists. Thank you for that very timely and welcome advocacy. Now it's time for us to go to our audience. Remember, our viewers at home, you can tweet at us at News Central TV. You can also use the hashtag place at the table. I believe Raya is ready to talk to us. Raya is of the famous NYSC fame. Let's just leave it at that. We also have questions for you after this. Go ahead and make a contribution.
Okay, so Ma'am Kate Henshaw said something. She said there have been no consequence so far. But then I feel like we are missing a very vital information. The part where they said they got some terrorists, but they took them to rehab. So why have we not spoken about the fact that you caught the people that are hurting your citizens? And the first thing on your mind is not to punish these people, to pass a warning across to the other terrorists that are going to plan this. Instead, your first approach or the first thing you want to do is to take them to rehab, to pardon them. This is only going to tell the remaining persons that, okay, if I do this thing, they will take me to rehab. And this rehab they take them to, they give them, I think, foodstuffs. I saw some foodstuffs. What about the people that were hurt from this? What about the families that were hurt from this? We didn't hear anything about the government pardoning the families or giving them some things to, just take off that pain. But then the people that caused the pain are the ones that we see them pardoning. And I feel like we need to talk about that. We need to talk about the fact that they are pardoning the people that are hurting us instead of taking care of us and the people that were hurt.
Noted. And I'm sure the panelists would like to respond to that. But let's take a comment from Okikiola before we go to Morris.
Okay, thank you for that. I think everyone has rightly said quite a number of things, but while you were speaking, I was trying to note down certain things. And this story was something I followed from the beginning. And I even went back decades ago to try and see where and when this started. And I realized that the tragedy in Benue is not a natural disaster, it's a leadership disaster. And Jaja rightly said it, that if we see press statements coming out saying that there should be dialogue, there should be communal discussions in that sense, I think that it has gone beyond, just like Yusufu rightly said, that it has gone beyond just speaking about land grazing, about ranching. It's now an attack on Nigeria, not just even the Benue citizens. I've never been to Benue. I rarely know many people from there, but from the
time the story started, the whole killing happened, I started to wonder, what if it comes to Lagos where I live? What if I had a family in Benue where they got attacked? How would I feel?
Yeah.
I could only say that I'm being sympathetic about it. I'm trying to also tweak my voice, but people's lives has been lost. And when I saw the video of them warmly welcoming the president, to Benue State, I was mad at the video because I saw school children under the rain,
in the rain, yeah,
welcoming the president. And he even passed through the flood area. And that's why when I saw the video, I was like, I'm glad that he experienced that flood. So you know that beyond the fact that they're actually killing these people, there's also a problem with the community. And the president saw that. I expected that after the whole visit, the talk, the communal dialogue, there was going to be a press statement showing results. There was no working. It was just cha-cha-cha. I would say that. There was no working from what happened. When Yinka mentioned ranching, how are we going to... One thing that I've noticed about Nigeria is the fault in implementation. We can know how to bring reforms, policies, and all of these things, but implementation is what takes the next route. And then now we have now seen how all of these things, all of these people start to suffer for it. I believe that these mothers who have lost their lives, these children who have lost their life, just like Yusuf said, prayed that morning. They prayed for food, they prayed for protection, they prayed for wealth, but none of these things came to them except that disaster that has happened. So when would all of this end? When will the terrorists, in that sense, when will they be caught? When Rai said that they took them to rehab, I didn't see that news, but I know that even when they have gone to rehab, I did not hear anything about them being publicly paraded.
Yeah.
So that we can know faces, we can know the family. Any man or woman that heads a terrorist group already has recruited any of their family member. So we need to know who these people are.
Okay.
So I think that would be my take.
Thank you very much, Kyola. Let's hear from Maurice Moyo quickly before.
So I will tie what you said to what she said. You said 17 of our security forces were killed. Those people were killed by repentant terrorists. I saw the news yesterday. They were killed by repentant terrorists. So there's so much lawlessness. There's so much insecurity in the country. No consequences for bad behavior.
Or anything.
People can just come and do as they like. Insecurity is a lucrative business in Nigeria. No consequences. Now, for Benue State, we heard the news of Benue State. 200 people were killed in one day. We saw this Iran-Israel war. Missiles flying left and right. 200 people were not killed in 1 week in that war. Missiles flew left and right. 200 people were not killed. So there is a problem in this country. Benue State is the food basket of Nigeria. I have a rice mill. She's my rice customer. I have a rice mill in Benue State. It's shut down. In Otukpo, it's shut down. There's an attack on the food security of Nigeria. We don't know that is going on. Go to Zakibiam. They are the largest producers of yam in Nigeria. All stopped. Nobody's going to the farms anymore because they'll get killed. And nobody's protecting them. No governor, no president, nothing. In fact, the governor said he disagrees on people taking arms to protect themselves. He disagrees. So there's a problem going on. Nobody's talking about it. It's a serious problem of leadership in this country. And only God will save us. Or maybe he may not.
God is on leave. I will tell you that God is on leave, and I'm not blaspheming. He's on leave. You see, when Nigerians cry, I'm saying this openly. I don't care what anybody says. He will open his curtain and say, "Oh, this once again. I beg, Gabriel, play music and make it louder because this people are annoying me."
Aisha said in their advocacy that it's giving you all you need. So what else do you want? It's not going to come down. Fix the issue. But our panelists raised important issues like the repentant terrorist. And oftentimes you see Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, they will come out and say you can't summarily execute people for the sake of it, depending on the designation, the headsman or terrorist or what have you. So it's an interesting balancing act. Under President Obama, the United States refused to sell all super Tucanos and arms, citing dubious human rights laws. So At what point do you, and there are also non-kinetic ways to dealing with security issues. You can't shoot your way out of all the problems in this world. So where does
no
that
one is
balance
talking
come in?
about no one is talking about not rehabilitating them, but have you been punished for the crime?
That's why they're called repentant. Maybe.
Because even in prison, sorry Aisha, you will pay, you will go to prison, you will go to prison, then you will be paroled. Before you are even paroled, you have to show that you are willing to go back into normal society and behave yourself. So there must be a punishment for the crime. You must do the time for the crime that you did. Not just, oh, rehabilitate. Now they've gone back to kill just because they gave you their gun. How do you know they don't have 10 more at the back hidden?
Okay.
You know, just to quickly look at this whole issue of repentance. If you open every prison in Nigeria today, all the criminals, I tell you, they would want to be repentant and they want to be left to go. But we can't just come, you get terrorists, and then the next thing you say, oh, you're rehabilitating them, they are repentant, and you're taking them into the military. Taking them, that's even the bigger issue, recruiting them into the military. It caused a lot of problem, especially in Borno, where they felt a lot of victims. Because if you understand how this whole thing have gone on, most of these terrorists, when they kill heinously. They will slaughter someone in front of the remaining members of the family, and you see neighbor, people that you've known. And they were crying, how do you come to now tell them to live together with these people who have done these things to them without anything? But you see, let me add something. The last time soldiers were killed, I think it was Delta State. They went in there. They literally leveled a town. Up till now, I think people are still on the run from there. Why is it that when civilians attack maybe one military person, the Nigerian military is ready to bring out all the guns. But when terrorists kill soldiers, they do nothing. And there's a critical thing that happened here, DSS, because we all were blaming DSS. If you want to fight terrorism, you have to do it with intelligence. And we're like, intelligence guiding. I know, I owe the DSS an apology, because I said to them, when it comes to protesters, you have all the information, you have all the intelligence, but when it comes to attacks, and then later they came out to show that they had shared intelligence with this thing. Why wasn't anything done? And one thing also that some of the reports coming out, the people said, whenever they see the military pulling out, they know the terrorists are coming. And this is not the first time. A lot of abductions that have happened, you see, they will clear the road. Militaries will not be here.
I mean, we might have to extend this from a table to a town hall. We'll rent, yes, but you're watching the special live edition of A Place at the Table. We'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we'll still have more advocacies to go through. Surviving the times, that's the thing.